Terrorism has engulfed the world in fear. Do you remember the 9/11 attack that happened in the US? That didn't just kill 3,000 people, but left the whole country paralyzed with fear. That's terrorism. The reason why terrorism exists is because the Sykes-Picot Agreement made between British and the French with the consent of Russia. The result of the agreement was that the British and the French cut up the Middle East and left borders between the people who hated each other. Also, the borders led to countries having Western influences in the government. Another reason for terrorism is because of the Balfour Declaration. This was between the British and the French, promising that the Jews would have a home in Israel. But because of this, the Palestinians used to live there, but once one group moves in, another group has to move out.
The borders and Zionist movements in the Middle East created a terrorist group known as Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda means the base, and their leader is Osama bin Laden. Their ideology or goals is to remove Western influence from the Middle East and destroy Israel. He wants to create one Muslim state where all laws are based on religion. To do this, he has done several terrorist attacks, such as the Yemen bombing that continued to drive his ambitions. Well, who's to blame for terrorism? Well, it turns out that the US created Osama bin Laden by giving him the resources he needed, like money, ammunition, and guns. The US gave Osama their resources to defeat the Soviet Union, which threatened them, but Osama had double-crossed the US. Because of the power Osama gained, he was able to go after his true ambitions, which was to eliminate Western influences in the Middle East. But the reasons that these Western influences were in the Middle East was because of the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the Balfour Declaration, created by the British and the French, making it their fault. Of course, the US, British, and French were to blame, but Osama and the Al-Qaeda made things worse by killing people while trying to reach their own goals.